If you are very interested in discovering hidden civilization, I suggest you take a trip to Antarctica. But remember to take a spare fuel for your jet, because you may want to return home as soon as possible. You want to find out the reason, so stay with me until the end. Antarctica is the coldest and driest continent in the world with the strongest winds. It is a very large land that, if we consider the United States and Mexico together, it is almost the size of Antarctica. This Antarctic continent has about 90% of all the ice on the planet. The annual average temperature is minus 10 degrees Celsius in its coasts and minus 60 degrees Celsius in its highlands. The wind speed here is it reached 100 kilometers per hour. It has no main inhabitants. The only main inhabitants of this cold land are scientists who conduct their research there. No other human lives there. One of these new research showed that maybe a new organism has grown under these tens of millions of years of ice. In this video, we discuss the secret hidden under the Antarctic. A strange discovery. It was January 2nd, 2015, when a journalist named Linda Moulton, who happened to be a science award winner, received a strange email from a retired officer and flight engineer in the United States Navy. This retired officer remained anonymous and uses the pseudonym Brian for this communication, and we call him Brian. In the explanation he gives to Linda Moulton in the form of an email, he describes his exploration, which happened to be strange experiences about flying over Antarctica between the years 1983 and 1987. In this audio interview, Brian says, "In our first flight, after some time passed, fuel consumption increased, which made the plane lighter, so we flew to higher altitudes and increased our range of vision. When we reached a higher altitudes, one of the crew told us to look at this big hole on the ground. We all looked down. There was a big hole on the Antarctic ice, a big black hole that was like a hole there. Although we were not exactly above it, and we were looking at it from an angle, but we could clearly see that it was a big hole. This hole was at an angle of 45 degrees to us. Brian says that this hole was almost the size of a plane to fly in. It was almost the size of a football field. Brian said that we were at an altitude of about 4,000 meters, and this hole was easily seen. In a continuation of his interview, he said that once in one of their operations, they did not allow their team to pass through a certain area in a South Pole. They said that in this special area, scientists are sampling the air of the South Pole, and if you fly there, the samples will break down. Brian said that the pilot of his team was involved with the team manager. They both saw that when they fly at an altitude of 9,000 meters, how could this one plane ruin the air in that area? Maybe there was something there that they did not want this team to fly. They later found out that there was no research team in that area at all. No one used to come and go in that area, so why should it be a no-fly zone? After their last mission and seeing that black hole, they held a briefing with American intelligence agents. They told them not to tell anyone about the things they saw in their last mission, not even to reveal the location of their mission. In another of their flights in the dark area and deep hole in the South Pole, the GPS and navigation devices of the plane failed, and they are forced to return to their base quickly and report. These strange events may somehow be the answer to the question of why more than 6-year-old scientists who have a scientific base in Antarctica know that things are happening there and scientists are heading. What is hidden in Antarctica? Extraterrestrial being or holes like the mysterious black hole that is the door to underground cities? Secrecy. Haley Patricia Sherman was an astronaut who went on a space mission in May 1991 to visit the Mir space station of the Soviet Union, and was the only person to enter outer space along with 7 English astronauts. At the time, these 7 people were the only ones, being that they were expected to be able to see easily if there were creatures around the Earth, because they saw the Earth clearly from outer space. Maybe if there was another hole on the Earth, they could discover it. Until today, 622 astronauts have seen the Earth from outer space, but no one has said anything about the creature on the Earth or inside the Earth. Why has no one except Brian been able to see such a mysterious hole in the South Pole? Of course, it cannot be seen in a place like the International Space Station. It is not possible because the radiation angle of this station is not limited to the South Pole and it cannot see it. But in general, NASA and some satellites from other countries have been able to take pictures of the South Pole completely. There is a hypothesis here that what Brian saw was in the 80s. From then on I knew it was a suspicious crater. It must be covered with ice and snow. In general, if there is a hole in the Antarctic or not, what we know is the possibility of the existence of organisms or living things under the Antarctic ice. Probably not. There are certainly creatures under the Antarctic ice, and we are still looking for things. We made a mistake in Antarctica. For example, until 2 years ago, a 48,000-year-old virus was discovered in the northern part of the Earth in Siberia under the ice. Russian scientists were able to bring out an ancient virus, which is called the zombie virus, from under the ice, and this virus came alive after the ice melted. Another issue is that at the time of the dinosaurs, the continents were connected and they gradually began to separate and form today's continents. At the time, about 300 million years ago, the continents of the Earth were born, and they were called supercontinents. It is possible that creatures went to the South Pole at the same time and settled there, because there was a better climate later. With the change of climate in the South Pole, they were buried under the ice, like the zombie virus. In 2022, a new species of fish was discovered in Antarctica. They named it as fish. Although it belongs to the category of aquatic animals, we didn't know that such a creature exists in Antarctica until a few months ago. We haven't explored the entire Antarctic yet. Maybe we will find a creature that is not related to the family of aquatic animals, rodents, birds, and mammals, and we question our entire science and biology. There are so many secrets, but the speed of our discovery is low. If you have heard anything about the South Pole, put it in the comments so we can make a video about it. In the next video, join us to hear some truths about the dark secret of the Vatican that will surely surprise you.